can learn from them. Don't attack them. I want you to hear what one of them said, though, about the mysterious Katie.
I didn't wake up again until a little after 11 o'clock. And that was to my brother coming in the room being like, hey, Warren's trying to get a hold of you. Warren gets on the phone and he's just like, hey, man, he was like, hey, have you talked to Nolan? Anything else? I was like, no, I haven't talked to him, man. He was with that girl last time I knew. And he was like, okay. He was like, man, we can't get a hold of him. We don't know where he's at. And I was like, man, it's Nolan. He's probably just out somewhere with that girl. Like, get a hold of the girl. You'll probably find Nolan.
Okay, right there, I'm getting a red flag. That's from the Officer Tatum podcast who joined us recently. That
I'm getting some red flags as well, man. And somebody, it seems that way, isn't telling the truth. And today we are going to examine that all. Salute to everybody. If you're new here, welcome back. If you're not, make sure you're subscribing to the channel. But we are going to take a deeper look into this Nolan Wells case and the latest claims that's circulating online. We got somebody on TikTok that's talking about Katie. We got Nancy Grace and her co-hosts or her panelists that are talking with her that got some discrepancies about Katie. And one thing that stood out to me for real was this. As the police report, this is the first report of Nolan Wells missing, all right? And I've highlighted on a blue line. They said Nolan and that when they left, he was in the company of an unknown female and that he chose to remain on that island. Unknown female. That's something that stood out to me clearly. Why is she unknown now? Now they don't know nothing about that. So when we get into that TikTok video, that's going to maybe bring all of those elements together for us, all right? So I want y'all to rock with me, stay with me, and just let's put this together. Let's piece this together. Something was uncovered on this Nancy Grace interview as well. So we do want to get into that. And then we're going to go into the TikTok because something else stuck out because we thought the phone was on the boat, right? No, again, now I'm going to read from up top now, the top lines, okay? They said, look, his phone was in a friend's truck and all the friends said that they had returned from the island. His phone was in a friend's truck. That's another thing that stuck out to me, right? Why would someone leave their phone in a truck, go on a boat, take a boat 30 minutes to an island and not have your phone at all, but then say that you're going to stay and wait or stay for anybody and wait to get a ride with somebody back when the people that you just came with actually have your phone in their truck back at the dock, not even on the boat. So why would you not go back and get your phone? It just makes no sense to me. It just makes no sense to me, man. So salute to everybody. Let's get into this little breakdown from Nancy Grace, and then we go get right into the TikTok. Make sure y'all liking, subscribing. Make sure y'all voting on the polls.
girl, the mysterious Katie. Remember, nobody who knew who she was. But then later, Dave Mack, do we learn that one of the guys on the boat had been texting with her and knew full well who it was? Where did the name Katie come from?
Katie was known to at least one person in the group, and that leads you to believe there were certainly more. There were a number of comments publicly made by friends of Nolan that backtracking, claiming they didn't know who Katie was, had never seen her before, and then you find out, yeah, well, not only did they know her, but they were texting around about her. So there's a lot of missing information here, Nancy, and it's why you said all along, why are these guys not on a polygraph?
Marie?
Just because we're having a lot of people coming up with a lot of different theories, I agree with Caitlin. Not every theory deserves the breath of air. It's not all true. I think it could confuse the search for justice when we're entertaining every single person who posts every single theory, even when it makes no sense. And I have to bring my friend out of probation and say that you can't, go according to every single piece of information you get. It has to make sense to warrant the investigators taking time to investigate. And the fact that they're not sharing with us, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're not doing it all. There's no law that says they have to share everything they're finding out with the public.
Hi, guys. American homeowners. The FBI has been warning about a type of real link below. Katie made it home on another boat, ready to get on the boat post made by Katie's sister. Katie had a convo, assumed Nolan was getting ready to get on the boat he came out in. Katie made it home on another boat. Katie assumed the friends telling him, get on, wouldn't have left without him. Okay, so he says, I'm going back with my friends. She thinks he got on the boat. The mystery girl Wells reportedly stayed behind to speak with has been identified. Now, at the get-go, we were told no one knew who she was. He had never met her before. He had just met her and was talking to her. But her sister provides a different account of what happened. Whenever I see a conflict in the evidence, I have a problem. This is all unfolding as we go to air tonight. We wait for that toxicology report.
Something just ain't right. Telling you, man, something's off about this whole case, man. Something's off, but we are going to go into this video here. Let's see if we could get into this. And let's just take a listen to this real quick, all right?
This is now my third time making this video because they keep taking it down because they don't want you to see what I have found. Katie has dry snitched, y'all. Here we see Katie's Snapchat where she's wearing a teal swimsuit and she's with a girl in a blue and white striped swimsuit. On this video of the 3 boats, you're going to see a girl in a blue and white striped swimsuit right here on Bart's boat. And right next to her with the same long wet hair is a girl in a teal swimsuit on Bart's boat. Make sure you have your brightness turned all the way up because here we have Katie in a teal swimsuit and look at her head. She is wearing a white hat. Oh, look, the video of the boat getting towed. Teal swimsuit, white hat. And that's not all, folks. Again, turn your brightness all the way up because right here, we've got somebody wearing red trunks. Oh, and look what we have here. Red trunks. And here's those same red trunks on the shore right after the fight with Tristan. Katie is claiming that she allegedly caught a ride home with somebody named Marty McGrath. It just so happens that a Marty McGrath is the co-owner of the Biloxi Bay RV Resort and Marina in St. Martin. Here it is, and my, that is a massive dock way out in the water. And would you look at that? It's right next to the grandparents' house. Now, in that report with the GPS coordinates, didn't they say that they went southwest towards St. Martin Bayou? Yeah, that's right, it did. And it also took them 45 minutes to get to that boat ramp over there. That only takes about 6 minutes on land. Like I said, they are trying to take down my page. Make sure you are following my backup here. But Katie, I want to say one thing to you. You're young, and I know you don't realize this yet, but these are not your friends. Be a hero. Do what's right. This is now my third time.
Hold up. She's going to break this down, though. I just want to see. Hold up. Wait. It's another video. Let's go to that one. Let's see.
Oh, they're trying to be sneaky on TT because I just found out that the video I posted today about Katie not eligible for FYP. Make sure you go and watch it, but I'll give you a quick little rundown. Teal swimsuit, white backwards baseball cap. Teal swimsuit, white baseball cap. Red shorts, red shorts, red shorts. Bart's boat. Girl in striped swimsuit standing right next to a long-haired girl in a teal swimsuit. Teal swimsuit, striped swimsuit. Oh, they're trying to be sneaky on TT because I just found out that the video I posted today about Katie not eligible for FY.
Nah, bro, that's crazy. Was Katie on Bart's boat? Remember, Bart is saying right now that he never knew Katie at all. The first time he's met Katie was when he went to Horn Island this day on the 4th of July. He said he never knew her at all. The first time he seen her, she was there with Nolan or whatever the case. That's what his lawyer came out to say. Attorney Latino, that's his name, okay? Represented from the Mississippi Tribune. Is all of this just a cover-up also to protect Bart? They say that Bart was supposed to be going to the NFL. He comes from a long line and legacy of footballers. And a lot of people are saying that they're trying to cover it up for Bart.
This is now my third time. Not only have I found more evidence of a
video gonna
fourth
explain
boat,
some
not
stuff,
only
folks.
have I
Listen to
found
this.
a lie in their timeline, but I have also discovered a deep political connection, not only to a former governor of Mississippi, but to Turning Point USA. So first off, this picture has surfaced in which it's clearly the group of boats a little bit further out in the water altogether. Now here's what is supposedly Bart's boat. We can see the Garmin on top, can confirm this black boat from this other picture. We can see Wyatt's Triton right here, and we can confirm that by the motor. As you can see right here, has that black stripe on the white motor. Now in between the two boats is the Palm Beach. You can clearly see it labeled and it's got that stripe, right? As you can see, the stripe is there. And yet there's this design right here and no Palm Beach. And you may be like, Jay, that doesn't prove that it's a different boat. Maybe we just can't see it, even though it should be right there, according to this picture. But if you look in this video, you can see that there is a black propeller right there. See black propeller, and you can very clearly see the Palm Beach right there on the side. And if you look really carefully in this photo, you can see right there a black propeller. There's another boat on the other side of these three boats. And given the lack of the name on the boat and the black propeller, I'm going to assume the Palm Beach is on the other side, which means there's 4 boats right here. Then I rewatched Warren's interview.
And I woke up at my buddy's house, and we went to McDonald's, got food. No one was not with me. And I went and got breakfast. I had my buddy's boat hooked up to my truck. And well, first I ran to my house, then I went to McDonald's and came back, and the boat was already hooked up to my truck. My buddy Wyatt and I went, and with my buddies, we went, filled the top of the boat off, loaded it down with ice, and just got everything ready. Then Wyatt went and put his smaller boat in the water, which is the Palm Beach. He's 18-foot Palm Beach, and I drove the boat from Fort Bayou Boat Launch to my buddy's grandparents' house, and that's where we all planned to meet up that day.
So Wyatt had his buddy's boat already hooked up to the back of his truck. He said he and Wyatt and his other buddy went and got ice and filled up the boats. And Wyatt went and put the Palm Beach, his smaller boat, into the water. And we know that there was a second boat, the Triton, that was driven by Wyatt. Wyatt had 2 boats in the water. Who was driving his other boat?
Nolan was on Wyatt Pyron's 22 Triton. On the way out, I went with my buddy Bart because we had a lot of friends from college coming down, and I called Bart that morning. I was like, hey.
He sound like he lying, bro. I'm just saying, yo, bro, you got kids? Have you ever been a kid and been lying? Yo, bro, he sounds shaky as hell. I'm not pointing no fingers, probably an elbow, but yo, it sounds shaky already, bro. It sounds shaky. I'm sorry.
Man, can you take your boat out? And he was like, yeah, well, my dad's decided not to go, and I'll take the boat, and I'll take you and your friends. Of course. I mean, he's a buddy of mine. And so Bart pulled up at the dock, and I mean, I rode out there with Bart and a lot of the girls that go to college with my friends and I, and Nolan rode out on the Triton, and then we had a Palm Beach, 18 Palm Beach. There was 4 guys on that. There was like 8 people on the Triton, and then there was 8 or 9 people on the Triton, and then there was the rest of the group, which was ranged from maybe 10 to 15 or 16 people.
Now, wait a minute. So Warren already had a boat hooked up when he woke up that morning. I'm assuming that that had to be the Triton that was hooked up, right? Then he said that Wyatt went and put his smaller boat, the Palm Beach, into the water. Then Warren said that he was the one who drove the Palm Beach to their friend's dock. Assuming that Wyatt drove the Triton to the dock and Bart drove his own boat to that dock, who drove the Palm Beach out to the water then? Because he said that he got a ride in with Bart, even though at one point during the interview, he said all of his stuff was on the Palm Beach. So it sounds to me like Warren was the one driving the Palm Beach. I'm also like, what parent would let their kid, who's obviously going off to party, take 2 of their boats and let their drunk friends drive? Like, it isn't making sense to me. I mean, maybe these parents are just shitty parents and irresponsible. Then he also said that he contacted Bart that morning to see if he could come. And Bart was like, yeah, I can give all your friends a ride, blah, blah, blah. According to him, there were 10-ish people, 15 people on that boat. So where were those people originally supposed to ride in on? They'd been planning it for weeks. They were excited about it. Why did Bart have to suddenly step in and take all these people? And remember, Bart said that his dad had canceled going out on the boat that day, so he could do it. Something's not adding up here. I think there was an adult somewhere in this mix. It would also explain how they all thought quickly on their feet with the CETO. I wouldn't be surprised if an adult didn't come out there and just go off with other adults that were also on Horn Island and let the kids hang out with the boat. Here's where things are going to get interesting, folks. There are more GPS coordinates in the report than what we have seen publicly. I'm going to play you a clip from the interview, but remember, at 5:30 is when they started picking up regular speed, all right? It's right here.
Let me show you what she's talking about, okay? This is the paper, okay? Does it say they're picking up speed on this one? Yeah, look, speed 30 to 35 knots up here. 1725, which is 525. The vessel regains normal operation speeds of 30 to 35 knots. Okay, I know you can't see it, so I want to bring it up for you so you see it clearly. All right, that's what she's showing you. And she's about to show you how this timeline is not adding up with what he's saying in this interview of how and when and where they went, what they did, when they stopped. Because when we talk about, remember, when we talk about the boats, we see that the boat made a whole bunch of moves. It went from 1 to Horn Island to 2 to Horn Island. Then it came back to the dock. Then it went into Fort Bayou. Then it came to 6, back to the dock. Then it went to Fort Bayou boat launch. And then from the boat launch, it took over land to number 8 to a home in Biloxi, which is one of the boys' houses, actually, or family houses. All right. So just keep that in mind real quick as she breaks this down.
525 speed miles, 30 to 35 knots. So here we go.
Planed off and you have water in the boat and you're hauling, we're going pretty fast. We're going probably 40, 42 miles an hour. And so all that excess water that was built up in the boat is coming out of the boat. So, I mean, that's what we had to do. So we ran into Fort Bayou and we didn't just run straight to my buddy's grandparents' house. We ran into Fort Bayou. A couple of us jumped in the water, and Wyatt, the whole reason for the stop was so Wyatt could hop in and put the plug back in the boat. So then after that, we went and docked it, and I went back to my buddy's house, and we ate and napped for a little bit. It was a long day at the islands.
Ate and napped and all of that. Y'all was in dire straits. Y'all was basically on the Titanic boat, bro. Boat was about to sink. All of that's done. It was so sporadic on that boat, on that CETO audio, bro. Now they going to eat, sleep, take naps, all types of other shit, right? That's just funny. And he said that they was picking up speed. They was hauling it, right? So this is what I'm saying. When you hauling it like that, did you break your own boat, sir? Who broke the boat? Who broke the bilge pump? See what I'm saying? When you taking off, you trim down, bow down. This is how you take off on a boat, bro. On plane is the second image, okay? You trim up and optimize. Gradually regain speed because remember, there's waves that you're going over. Look at number 3, though, right? Not number 3 down here, the third image on the top. You see, when you trim up too much, the top of the boat comes out the water. Now you get down to 3 on the bottom, the first one. This is when the boat begins to slam on the water, which can break clasps, little fittings and all of these things. The wires can be damaged. And this is how you can go about breaking the bilge pump. All right. Because you know that the bilge is the lowest part of the boat. And this bilge pump is this picture on the right, on the top end. It is what pumps the water out. But as the boat begins to take on water, the bilge pump cannot pump fast enough to get the water out. And here is when you begin to sink. So were they in a rush or moving very fast, high speeds on the water and basically broke their own bilge pump? So that's one of the things that's in the paperwork, right? The police report, where they're trying to explain to say they don't know where or when they actually began to take on water, okay? When did they begin to take on water? This is a very key question because remember, they called the CETO, but then the CETO was canceled. I think the grandfather called and canceled the CETO, and then they ended up making Bart's boat tow them, all right? Basically, it was saying like Bart wasn't even there at all. But until we heard the CETO audio where you can basically hear, damn it, Bart, which placed him there as well as him being placed there from the interview. The interviewer, right? The person that's being interviewee actually said Bart was there. Okay. All right. Just look at all of these pieces that I'm saying. I'm putting them all together for you. Something shady is happening. Look.
Now you heard him. He said that they took off going 40 miles an hour and they didn't go to his buddy's grandparents' house, but they went to Fort Bayou to go do a plug thing. Except right here, 5:44, vessel arrives at El Camino Road. 8 minutes later, then it departs from El Camino Road and headed east into Fort Bayou.
We got the image. Let's see. Does it got this? It goes into El Camino Road. Right? See number 2, the second line, 1744. It arrives at blank El Camino Railroad. Next, the vessel departs blank El Camino Railroad, headed into east into Fort Bayou. 1806, the vessel returns to El Camino Road. 1836, vessel departs blank El Camino Road, heads southwest to St. Martin Bayou, and turns southeast to Biloxi Bay Bridge, and then back north to Fort Bayou boat launch. Remember, I was showing you in the other image, right? Let me come here. Remember, Fort Bayou boat launch, number 7 right here. See what I'm saying? Cool. Let's go back, right? 1947, the vessel was trailered to blank Cardinal Lane. That's where I think one of the boys live. I can't remember which one. I done been reading so much paperwork, all right? Okay, the last data point on record, this is the last place, is when it gets to blank Cardinal Lane, okay, which is one of the boys' houses, all right? And we understand that's the place in Biloxi. That's number 8 that you're looking at on this image. Number 8 is where the house is, okay? Biloxi, okay? Cool. Now let her explain. Now that we got that out so you can see visually, see the paperwork. Now let her talk so you can understand what's happening here. I want everybody privy to what's happening here. Okay? You're going to be 10 times smarter after you leave this video. All right, cool. Make sure y'all liking, make sure y'all voting, share the video, subscribe to Uda on Go, investigating this Nolan Wells case, because this is crazy.
So right there, we have a lie. The boat did stop before going into Fort Bayou. 6 minutes later, it comes back to El Camino Road, and the vessel departed El Camino Road half an hour later, headed southwest to St. Martin Bayou, and then turned southeast into Biloxi Bay Bridge. Then they went back to the Bayou boat launch. Then the boat was taken to Cardinal Lane, which was Wyatt's residence. Now, because I am an absolute genius, I was able to find it. This was where they left and where they came back that day, then came back several times. Now, first off, why aren't we seeing footage of them returning that day? We know that Nolan was with them when they left. So why do they have the security cams from that morning, but not that night? Whose grandparents lived there? Jax Patalo, whose family owns a pharmacy. It goes back deeper than that because George Patalo Sr., which is Jax's great-grandfather who is deceased, as it turns out, his great-grandfather was appointed and served on the staff of Mississippi Governor Cliff Finch. As you can see, I've confirmed Jax's relation to him. And as it turns out, Cliff Finch, well, he was in the Mississippi House of Representatives from 1960 to 1964 and supported racial segregation and backed the racist governor, to preserve segregation in the state. The federal grand jury conducted a 3-year-long investigation into his administration and several state agencies, and they were all accused of corruption and mismanagement. Finch was never found guilty himself. But
oh boy, we got to cook somebody next. We got to cook Officer Tatum next. I seen an Officer Tatum video where he's saying ain't no racism down there in Mississippi. No racism. I said, what the hell's going on? Now we got to get into it next. Pause.
Some of his aides and appointees were indicted. And those sort of political connections seem to trickle down through the generations. So now we know why the governor got involved. And I started looking into the lawyer that's handling the defamation case from the Bart family. So from 2015 to 2018, he was state director of Americans for Prosperity. Then in 2018 to 2020, he was vice president of Stand Together while being vice president of Americans for Prosperity. Stand Together is a Charles Koch nonprofit, and Americans for Prosperity is a libertarian conservative political advocacy group affiliated with Charles Koch and David Koch. And if you don't know who the Koch brothers are, they're fucking evil. Guess who's one of the major funders for Turning Point USA? Major donors for the Koch brothers also are primary financial pillars for Turning Point USA, specifically their campus operations. And guess who used to serve as the director of urban engagement? Not only have I found more evidence of a fourth boat.
No. He used to work with them, Officer Tatum? Oh my God. Wait, I gotta let me just rewind that one last part before we move on, y'all. That's crazy. Wait a minute, I didn't see that part. Wait.
Are primary financial pillars for Turning Point USA, specifically their campus operations. And guess who used to serve as the director of urban engagement?
The director of urban engagement. We wondering about Brenton Tatum. Why is he moving like this? Why is he automatically drawing his line in the sand, for lack of a better word, no pun intended? Why is he automatically believing the young men? If there was a suspect at all, not pointing no fingers at anyone, but if there was a suspect, it would be in this bunch. It would be amongst this group of people. But he's already taken a side. He's already jumped out the window to say that Nolan Wells was on cocaine when the toxicology report wasn't even performed. It said it's not even there yet. We don't have a toxicology yet, right? He's the one that stepped out on the ledge and said those things. We understand that the MDMR said that he was drinking heavily is because someone told them that, right? Who could have told them that? Obviously, Nolan's friends. Obviously, that only goes to their alibi. And I think the CTO call was just a fluff, and that's how come when the CTO operator was speaking with Wyatt on the phone, she said, "Is the water up to your ankles?" He said, "Huh? I don't know. All I know is we just sinking. Just come right now." What? And then you cancel it, and then the boat does all of this, and then you go and take a nap, as he just said in that interview, Warren. They go, we got some food. It was a long day. We just ate some food and all that. But remember, let's not forget this part, okay? Let's not forget this part. On the top line up here, I'm going to read it to you. I'm reading the top paragraph, not the bottom one with this highlighted, okay? Look, the caller told dispatch her 18th, this is where you're going to find your place, 18-year-old son rode on Horn Island on a vessel with friends, was last seen around 1500 hours. His phone was in a friend's truck, and all the friends said that they had returned to the island based on that information that was provided at the time. Karen asked the dispatch to forward the reporting party, which is Christine Wells, to the Jackson County Sheriff. But listen to me, Nolan's phone was in a friend's truck. They said he basically left it because I don't even want it to get damaged, water damage or whatever the case may be. Left his phone in the truck. So they all stay at each other's houses when they go to when they go to Horn Island, right? So now headed to the island, headed to the dock first, because you got to go to the dock, and then you got to take a 25 to 30-minute boat ride to Horn Island. So that means you get up in the morning, right? You get inside your friend's truck. Y'all drive to the dock. But yet you leave your phone in his truck and go to the boat and take the 30-minute boat over there. Why wasn't this talked about? Remember, he don't have no snaps. He don't have no images. He don't have this and this and that. Remember? But Officer Tatum said that he interviewed the young men, and they had videos and images from the night before, because remember, they all stay at each other's house, right? So it all make it convenient for them to all go to Horn Island, and they've done this multiple years. So they have images and videos in their phone of the night before, of them drinking, partying, having fun, whatever the case may be, right? But yet, Nolan has none. What sense does that make? And he leaves his phone in the truck, and then y'all don't bring the phone to the mother who's looking for her son? And then a missing person's only called around 10 p.m. that night. When y'all said y'all left at like 3, the last time y'all saw Nolan was like 3. But what time did y'all really depart? Because when you're getting in the water, it's 4 something. Yo, this story is just all over the place, man. Especially when it comes to Katie. I don't know, bruh. I don't know. Hold up. Let me just make sure that we ain't got nothing else to see with this sister right here. This chick right here, she doing her damn thing, homie. She is on a bumper, son. She's on a bumper. Hold up. I seen that one. Let's just watch this. We're going to go into an Officer Tatum video where he's trying to cook on Don Lemon, but he's saying there ain't no racism. But then we just seen what she just said in that last part, that he was the urban director. What? Ain't nothing urban about this man. It's nothing urban about Officer Tatum, bro. Nothing at all. Why is he the leader of director of anything urban? Think about this. Think about this. They're trying to rally black people, bro. Come on, bro.
Okay, this is my full Nolan Wells timeline with my supporting evidence. There were 3 boats in their group that day: Palm Beach, the Triton, and the Tideline. By the way, if you like my work, you can support me in my bio, because by the end of this video, I'll be dropping never before seen evidence. Anyway, back to the timeline. Warren said they got there at 10:30, even though the GPS said that they dropped their waypoint at 11:19. He said the Tidecraft, the Palm Beach, and the Triton were all like anchored up next to each other. At 3 o'clock, he gets into a fight with some stranger who didn't like the way that he was talking to his girlfriend, because, I mean, look at the way he was talking in this interview. I don't blame them. And they had a fist fight. His uncle was like, "We're getting the hell out of here."
I remember at one point in time, I look over and I see my uncle, and my uncle's yelling at me to get in the boat. I stopped fighting. As soon as me and him made eye contact, I got an uncle. I got in the boat.
Then Warren says that his brother was also involved in the same fight.
He'll come up to me and say, "Hey, your brother just got in a fight." And obviously, I have a younger brother, and that's what she was talking about, and I was freaked out. So I walked over to the beach, and I didn't walk over. I ran over. I made a beeline, talked to anybody, put my drink down, and walked over there. And my brother was kind of angry, and there's a lot going on, but someone was getting pulled away. I don't know who it was. And my brother was like, "Oh, I just got in a fight," and this guy punched me in the face, and I punched him right back. Then went to the ground. My brother put him in an armbar. And was Nolan involved in any of this? Absolutely not. When I was over there was a bunch of younger guys like my brother's age, and
so the brother got into a fight. Someone tried to punch him. He punched him back. It's a lot going on in this whole situation, bro. They getting into fights, all of that. And I mean, no, I never saw no one over there. Absolutely not. But
no, I never saw no one over there. Absolutely not. And okay, sorry, I just lost myself.
So you get ready to go. There's an issue with the boat.
Okay, yeah.
This is
This went up to that.
he said, "Sorry, I forgot where I was at just now." And then here come Officer Tatum. "You said about the boat and this and this and that." Sound like a placeholder, putting you right back on track where you need to be. Bruh, he didn't do this shit live. I bet you he did it. This had to be a video premiere. It had to be. They doctored this, bro. This whole conversation, allegedly in my own opinion, bro, is doctored, bro. Come on, son. I'm not pointing no fingers at nobody. I just do not believe that the whole truth has come out yet. I still just don't believe this. I don't care about them 1,000 black people that's on Facebook talking about who Katie. We know her mom and and I don't care, bro. I don't care. This Katie crib. This Katie in her house. All black people. I get it, bro. I'm not racist at all. I get it, bro. But I don't know if all the truth has come out from Katie herself, from any of them young men that's on that boat, or from anybody on this island, especially the randomly 2 people that's coming out now to say they saw Nolan on the island when the boat was gone. That's weird as hell. Now they see Nolan on the island when the boat was gone. What? What? If they was being straightforward, why didn't they bring the phone to the mom? Because the phone was in the truck. When y'all got back to your truck, remember the phone's in the truck? Right here, look. Look on the top paragraph, 18 years old. You see the number 18 is going to get you your place. 18-year-old son rode to Horn Island on a vessel with friends, was last seen around 1,500 hours, and his phone was in a friend's truck. Would you leave your phone in a truck? Go to an island, say you're going to chill, get a ride back with somebody else. You still don't got your phone. You ain't going to go get your phone, bro? You're not going to go get your phone. Think about this. So that means that if he was with Katie, and Katie talking about he's going to get a ride back, he's supposed to go home with them, or whatever the case may be, whose phone is he's able to use? She didn't know he didn't have his phone? Katie didn't know that. This person right here, she didn't know? So they didn't know he didn't have his phone. So the mother got to use track the phone, whatever the little app says to track the phone, right? Then her friend goes to a house to go retrieve the phone. Why? Why did she have to go through all of that, bro? If y'all being straightforward and y'all being honest, and that's your friend, that's my friend, and now I got to give send go talking about how he's your brother, and y'all just raised about 100,000 or more. That's the last time I checked on the give send go. The give send go was on 90,000 already in like a day. What are you talking about, bro? But y'all got to hear, oh, he's my brother, he's my brother. If he was your brother, why didn't you go give his mother his phone, period? Why? That's just weird to me, man. Everybody hit that like button. Everybody vote on that poll, please. I'm going to change the poll shortly, but I just want y'all voting, man, because this is just, I just get goosebumps when I think about this case, man. It just seems so shady. And I'm not pointing no fingers at nobody specifically, but it's just, I just don't believe everybody's being straightforward, man. I just don't.
So the fight happened, you had your brother, the scuffle. You know, I'm assuming that it was cleared up. Right. You got your brother out of this situation. And then how did you find out that this boat is sinking?
Well, I walk back over and like we're probably around each other for a little bit. I mean, you know, I wasn't thinking anything about it. I told my brother off the beach. I was just like, listen, get in the water, hang out with us, calm down. I mean, he was calm, but I didn't want anything else to happen, you know. And so once I got back over the boat, I got on the Triton, and the Triton had probably about 6 inches of water up to the transom. And I was freaked out because I'm good friends with Wyatt, and that was his boat. And, you know, no water's coming out, no access water's coming out. And
so he got on the Triton, and the Triton was already leaking water already. After you see the fight happened in the Anchorage location. I got to go back to the other documentation, bro, so I can show you this, man. I might have to go and show y'all this, man. So after you see the fight, right? You get on the boat on the Triton, and the Triton's already picking up water already before you're moving, while you were docked.
it was a big issue because I think the reason was because there's so many people getting on and off the boat. At some point, the boat was very, very crowded, and there's just a lot of people on, so that it drags water.
Yeah, that's not how boats work. Boats don't flood getting in and out of water. Mind you, I'd also like you guys to see that they are in much shallower water than they claim. But I digress. As someone whose parents have had several boats in their life, boats don't just start sinking because people are getting in and out of the water. I think they were trying to run as well because there is an underage kid who just got into a physical fist fight on the island. All of them are drinking and driving boats, so they're trying to hightail it out of there. Now, Warren goes into so much detail that he accidentally explains what really happened, but not in the way that he was saying it.
I think over time we were out there for a couple hours. The boat started filling up with water, so I popped the starboard side hatch, and the battery was completely underwater, and so the motor wouldn't trim down. I mean, my buddy would go to trim it down from the console, and it trimmed down, and then it come right back up.
Now, trimming the motor means they move the propeller closer to the transom and it lowers the bow, which means they can drive through choppy water without risking that choppy water to come into the boat. Failing to trim your boat up and taking off at a high speed can not only overheat very quickly and cause it to short, but if waves are high, it won't cut through the wake and it will cause the boat to porpoise and possibly have rough, choppy waters get on your boat.
So, I mean, on the way out there, it was pretty calm. I think it was blowing like 3 or 4 knots. I mean, the waters were clear. It was a great day to be on the water. Sunshine, not cloudy at all. And I mean, it was a great day to be out there on 4th of July. And so, I mean, we followed each other out, and I mean, it was calm. It was calm. On the way back, it was a little more rough, but it was not anything on my buddy's boat's going to handle, or like it wasn't like we were getting beat, really beat.
Now, as you can see, it is tilted up here in the back, and look how low the front is. He admitted that they hit choppy water at one point, so not that hard of a stretch to think that the water started coming over the boat, and that's when they were in trouble. That's when the bilge pump stopped working. Because Warren, when they claimed that they were leaving and he was jumping into action because it was sinking, he says this.
Maybe disabled to where you could get it out from Horn
Correct.
Island. So what happens after that?
Wyatt jumps the water, tries to throw a rear anchor, and my buddy Byron, he was sitting looking, trying to pull trash out the bilge. And the bilge is basically a pump that pulls the water, the access water out of the boat. So the bilge was failing to work. So any access water just sitting in the boat wasn't getting pumped out. So I looked over the gunnel and I looked at the release hole for the bilge. It was eating with the water. So, I mean, we're all freaking out. All of our, we're not focused on anything else other than the boat. Well, then eventually my buddy Bart on the timeline is like, I'm going to pull you all out.
So even though they were still on the island, he jumps out and throws out an anchor. Why did they pull the anchor up to begin with if they were sinking? If they were sinking, why was Bart offering to tow them out? Why would they risk being that close to the island and that close to ground to sink out further? Because again, look at how shallow.
Facts. Why would they risk that? If the boat is already taking on water, right? Why would you go and take that chance if the boat's already sinking? Why would you, one, cancel the sea tow? Why does Bart want to tow you at all, right? Why wouldn't you get back to dry land? Why would you make all these moves on the boat still? Why is the boat still going over other water from 4 to 5? Because remember, after you make it from Horn Island from 2 to 3 to 4, right? You safe. The boat's good. Why put it back on water? Why? What you doing? it's going from 4 to 5 to Fort Bayou. Then from Fort Bayou, it goes back to this boat launch. I mean, to this dock on number 6. And then it goes to Fort Bayou boat launch. Why is it making so many moves in the water? If you're already taking on water. And like she said, remember I explained it. This is why I created this infographic for you. I'm telling you, man, we on it, man. I created this shit, man. Look, man, so you don't understand. This is what a bilge pump look like on your right-hand side. It pumps water that collects in the lowest part of the boat, which is called the bilge. That's why it's called the bilge pump. That's what it does. So as soon as water comes, it starts to pump it out, all right? But when you take off too fast or trim up too much, like in this third image on the top, right? The boat begins porpoising and slamming and pounding on the rough waters. This is how hard landings and pounding can stress the hull, the fittings, and the equipment, can cause cracks and loose fittings and leaks. This is how this bilge pump could have been basically broken by them moving so fast, right? But if you have leaking boat, why are you even trying to do this at all? Or are you moving away fast because y'all trying to get away from something? Are y'all trying to flee because you know more than you are telling us? How did Nolan's body pop up in a place where all of the rangers, I'm going to show you the other documentation from the MDMR, the Mississippi Department of Marine Resources. I'm going to show you this right now next, right? I'm going to show you some images as well, okay? How did Nolan's body pop up on the northwestern tip of Horns Island when not only fire staff, fire departments, helicopters, National Park Rangers, it was many people in conjunction with the investigation. Besides, when the officers first went out to go view the island, period, they searched the northwest tip, they searched the southwest tip, they even searched the area on the island called the Chimney Stacks, where I guess like back in the days it had like an old army barracks there. They even searched the dunes to cancel those things out and rule all of that out. And then they went back to the northwestern tip where Nolan was found. But when the officers got there, this before they did any of that, they sent drones out. Some drones started to fail because it was too hot. So the battery swelled and then one drone fell. So they had to come back out. So they tried multiple drone flights as well on the northwestern tip where Nolan's found at on 2 days later. Listen to me. But when the officers are going out there, I think one of the officers' name was Atkinson or something. I'll get it to you. I'll show you in the paperwork. When they're both getting out there for the first time, because this is after Christine Wansley has made a call, said her son left the phone in the truck, all these things, right? So as they're getting out there, they run into a boat coming back from out there. Who's on this boat? I'm talking about the officers run into a boat of some people, 3 individuals or more, coming back from Horn Island. Who's on this boat? Christine and Elmore Wells Wansley, and the coach. The coach's name is Les George, right? They're coming back from searching all around the northwestern part of the coast and the water, all around the boat. I mean, all around with the boat, all around the area of where Nolan was found 2 days later. Okay. We understand tides coming in, tides going out, right? You understand if you ever been on a beach and you can feel the tide pull you out, right? Some people get pulled all the way into the ocean. That don't mean that the tide is going to push you back towards the island. Okay, it's not like a magnet and the water and the sand is attracted to each other. It don't work like that, right? But yet, with all these tides in 2 full days, Nolan's body is exactly in the same spot where they were searching the whole time. And this is why Ben Crump was talking about. He's like, yo, this seems suspicious as hell. How's he still there? His body could have been in the middle of the ocean, floating away, bro. But yet it's still there on the tip of on the northwestern part of Horn Island. It's too much shady activity, bro. I don't know. So much coincidences. It just doesn't make sense.
Water these boats are in. What I suspect is that everybody just hauled ass and left, but because the trim was not going down, it overheated, that stalled out, then the crashing waves were freaking everybody out. But even Warren couldn't keep his story straight or his timeline straight because then listen.
All of our, we're not focused on anything else other than the boat. Well then, eventually, my buddy Bart on the timeline is like, I'm going to pull you all out to where we're around all this, all this chaos. We left at 4:30 and there were still just as many people there, if not more, than when we got there. I mean, probably around the same amount. It was crazy.
Left at 4:30 and was same amount, but just as much people there. They left at 4:30. He just said, Bart said that he's going to pull him out. He's going to tow him out. Why did y'all call the CTO at all then? If Bart's there, Bart could tow you out. Why did you call the CTO at all? Seems like an alibi, more like an alibi, because you also canceled the CTO, right? And this was a big part of the paperwork that I read, the MDMR and the investigation. They did not know when the boat water started to ingress, when they started to take on water. That's not established really. We know they have the phone call, but that don't mean that that's when the boat started to take on water at first. That's when they could have noticed. That's when the water could be going too high. So they don't know, right? But if they actually got the CTO, the MDMR, to come and tow them out, right? That would have been documented. Even the time. Remember, as they're coming to meet you, they're probably going to be contacting you as well. Yo, how's the status of the boat? What's going on with the water? Da-da-da-da-da. So there'll be a timeline going on here, right? There'll be breadcrumbs. Yeah? This is why I think it was just placed to say, yo, we sinking, and then canceled, because this is suspicious activity. It was more of a cover-up of what happened. I'm telling you, in my own opinion, bro. In my own opinion. It just seems very weird. And then the boat's making all these moves. Why? If you're sinking the way you said you're sinking, like you just told the CTO operator, why risk that? Why risk a multi-thousand-dollar boat to go sinking in the water when you're on land already and you probably can get it fixed some way, somehow? Why chance that? When you have other boats here, you don't have just one boat. And was Katie on Bart's boat? Gotta ask ourselves these questions, bro.
Like, there's a lot of people enough. I mean, eventually, Bart pulls us out. You know, we left at 4:30, but we really weren't pulled out away from everybody. We were probably about a quarter mile out.
So they got pulled out from everybody? That don't even make sense. If Bart pulled y'all out, and because y'all was taking on water, why did y'all call the CTO and say y'all was sinking? And why did y'all cancel it anyway when Bart was already there? So basically, y'all got pulled out from the very beginning. I got to show y'all this so you can actually see what the hell I'm telling you, man. I think I got to show y'all this, man. I think I'm going to have to. Hold up, wait. Where's it here? I think I might have to, bro. Let me show you. Let me show you what I'm talking about, because y'all just not going to understand it if you don't really see. You got to see my videos that I've been posting. You got to watch them. I'm going into real breakdown. Look at fucking if they give me 3 views or not. The real breakdown of this shit, bro. I'm reading all the paperwork. Some of these people can't read. Look. Look. This is what I'm trying to show you. Look. Listen to this. Okay? Look. Okay? This is like the way that the boats was anchored. Okay? This is Warren on the Palm Beach. This is boat 1, boat X. First of all, they don't even know when boat X even took off and where it went and who was on the boat. This is the big of this paperwork. This is the big riddles of this paperwork. When did the boats start to leave? Where did they go? What route did they take? What track did they take? What was going on and who was on these boats? Okay. We got boat number 2 and we got boat number 3. Okay. So let me show you the line of how the boats were lined up as well. Right. Let me skip through this paperwork. All right. I read this whole, go a couple of lives back. I read this whole thing. All right, so that you can see what's going on. All right, this is the island. It shows you, right? Let me go to the images so you can see the way the boats were set up and where they got pulled from. Why leave here? What is Warren talking about? Why leave this if your boat is already taking on water already? Right? Doesn't make any sense, bro. Does not make any sense. This is what she's showing y'all with the images where you can see right here in the middle, the Palm Beach. That's the boat that Warren's on, the Palm Beach. The Triton is Bart's boat. The Triton. No, the Triton is what takes on water. Bart's boat comes to tow the Triton. The Triton is the boat that takes on water. That's what happens, okay? Cool. But I want to show you the line of boats of how they was lined up. Look, it's more like this. And it's another image that I can show you too as well of how the boats are lined up. So it shows you the spatial. This is a geospatial report showing you the location and where everything is, trying to give you your bearings of what you're looking at, right? Cool. Let me go down to the next images. These are two images. One was taken at 3:23 p.m. One was taken at 4:27 p.m. Okay. Remember, they said that they left around 4:30, right? They said they left around 4:30. Remember, 3 p.m. is the last time that they say they saw Nolan. Okay. Last time you saw Nolan was 3. Over an hour and a half later, you say that you leave and whatever the case, nobody sees Nolan, right? But y'all say that he was last with Katie. Yeah. So is it Katie with the teal bathing suit that I showed you in this TikTok video earlier today? Go back and go watch that part. Was she on Bart's boat? So if she's on Bart's boat, Bart acting like he never even knew Katie at all, he's suing content creators, then where the hell is Nolan then? That's my question I asked you. Where's Nolan? Think about this. Where's Nolan? Look, so this is how it goes. So you can see it better right here. Look, boom. You see what I'm saying to you? This is how the boats were set up and this is how the boats were lined up. If you already taking on water from here and Bart had to tow you out, he had to tow you out of this, basically. Why would you risk that and take that chance when your boat's taking on water? You're going to risk a boat sinking, maybe $100,000 boat, $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 boat. How much you think a boat costs? $10,000? It's a boat, bro. Cars cost more than that. Why risk that? And why call the CTO operator at all just to cancel it? Unless you're just trying to put a record out there to say, a physical proof record to say, yo, look, we was taking on water. Let's make a call to the CTO people. Boom. Yeah, then we're going to cancel it. Because you don't really want them to come, because when they come to investigate the water, the hole, the everything, the bilge pump. They're coming to investigate this. They're coming to see what the fuck happened. You don't want them really to come. That's how come when the woman asked him, is the water up to your ankles? He said, huh? I don't know. How the fuck you don't know when you on the boat, bro? How you don't know when you on the boat? He says, I don't know. All I know is we sinking. Just send someone out. Come now. Go listen back to the audio, bro. That's what he says. That's what the man says, bro. Crazy, bro. I done read all this paperwork, man. I done read this whole paper. It's 22 pages. I read this all for you, man. Straight. This was a communication that happened. So at 5 o'clock, and then one is at 7:30 p.m. All right. This first person, remember, they're trying to confirm what happened with Nolan. But now they're saying that these two statements conflict. And the first person, who's Matthew Lamp, he was saying something, but he's not as sure. But this person right here, Melissa Thomas, she's more sure and more assertive about her evidence of her record. She left at 7:30. Okay. She's saying that she's seen the boys, but she never saw Nolan. What? Listen to what I'm saying to you, bro. Make sense of this. Look, Matthew says, one of my passengers is pretty certain that he was a part of the group that was almost fighting around 5 p.m. The Bertram was a boat. The Bertram with the blue top that I posted left shortly after and pretty fast. Also, they're going to talk about a guy that was drinking a whole bottle of vodka. Look, bro, this is crazy. I read this whole paperwork. Look, listen what Melissa says. So he's saying he's certain that he saw listen what he says. Listen again what he says. He says, one of my passengers is pretty certain that he was a part of the group that was almost fighting around 5 p.m. So they was almost fighting around 5 p.m., right? Warren just said that his brother was a part of the fight, supposedly. That's what Warren just told us on this interview in this video. His brother was there. But yet they say that they left around 4:30, and the last time they seen Nolan was at 3. How's this making sense? Listen to me, y'all. The Bertram with the blue top was that I posted left shortly after and pretty fast. So now they're about to cancel him out, which he sound like he on the money with something. But look, Melissa says, Matthew Lamp, sir, you are sadly mistaken. We are the group that yelled at you as you we are the group that you yelled at as you pulled up thinking that we were going to hit you, and we weren't. And we were paying attention. Look, totally different kids was with us. I was with the Bertram boat, and we had no affiliation with him. the kid that was fighting or whatever the case. Remember there's the kid that had a whole bottle of vodka, right? They said, we hate to hear this happen, but do not smear people if you did not actually see something happen. This causes more issues for the people in charge trying to find this baby, and it creates stories that are false. We did speak to the boys, and at that moment, he did have an entire vodka bottle in his hand. Who is he? Nolan. Listen to me, y'all. Listen, okay? He did have an entire vodka bottle in his hand. You need to revamp your statement and not put blame towards anyone. We don't even know what happened, but I will tell you that you are mistaken. Give the cops my name, and I will let them know who we really had on our boats. It seemed like people was trying to back up out of this and don't want nothing to do with this. But look at this one, this line right here that she says, right? She says, we did speak. Remember, the fight happens around 5 p.m. This is what he said right here. So regardless of what she's talking about, the fight that they're talking about took place around 5 p.m. They said they left at like 4:30. So they said they saw Nolan like 3. Yeah, all right. So look now. So peep it. So what time was this that she seen this person with the bottle of vodka in his hand? What time was this then? What time was this? This is after 5 p.m., obviously, when this man is making his post. Because if it's around 5 p.m., then when you're posting this, it has to be after, because he's talking about a past tense situation. He's talking about a prior situation that happened already. So 5 o'clock already rolled on by, right? Think about this. Make sense in your own head. So when did she see this person? She said, we did speak to the boys, and at that moment, he did have an entire vodka bottle in his hand. Why was it so important for Melissa Thomas to state that? Why was it important for her to say that? Everybody's drinking out there. Everybody out there drinking. All them kids is out there drinking. Everybody's drinking. If we go back to the other pictures, people is in the water. I'm going to show you. Everybody got a container in their hands. So what is the problem with him having a bottle in his hand? He has a bottle. Is the bottle full? Is he drinking a whole bottle? No, he's drinking with friends. What the hell are you talking about? You act like he just got a bottle for his head and he's drinking it to himself like a wino. He's drinking with his people. Did she say he was drinking out the bottle, straight out the bottle? You could be pouring yourself a cup, right? What's so bad about you having a bottle in your hand and you about to pour yourself a drink? This is coming to be some real alibi type shit, bruh. I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. My own opinion, bruh. Look, they all in the water. Look, containers in their hands. Look, people in the water chilling, drinks. And everybody, look, drinks. Look, drinks in Shorty hand, drinks in her hand. Look, drink. He got a drink in his hand. Drinks. Everybody got drinks. Look what Caitlin Brashard says. We were parked right next to, obviously, the boys or whoever, right? Who else you parked next to that you don't see Nolan? You got to be parked next to the same people that he was with. So we were parked right next to the blank, and he was nowhere in sight when we left at 7:30. Think about this, yo. At 7:30. So what time did they really leave? Yeah. Did they leave at 4:30? So who was they parked next to at 7:30 when they left, when they talking about seeing Nolan? Why would you even think that Nolan's with these other random ass people when Nolan supposed to be with his friends? He's supposed to be getting a ride back, allegedly, right? With some other people, right? So why would you even think he's with anyone? You don't even know this guy. You don't know Nolan. Does Caitlin Brashard know him? You know Nolan, Caitlin? Tell us what's going on. So who are you talking about? And why would you be thinking about him at 7:30, lady? What's going on? It seemed like everybody's connected. Calls are being made. People are out there. Parents are out there. Adults was there and present. These young kids couldn't come up with this story by themselves, man. Adults helped them come up with this story, bro. That's in my own opinion. Because they not even stamping it and bringing it across fully the right way. It don't make sense. It does not make sense. I'm going to go back to the lady. Hold up. I'm going to go back. I've read this whole paperwork. So you got to go back and check the video of this. It's on my channel. Okay. This is called the timeline. The Nolan Wells Marine, I think I got a MDMR, which is a Mississippi Department of Marine Resources person, is on the video as well, on the image, on the thumbnail, because this is the timeline that they established from the beginning to the whole thing. Okay. Let's go down and see if we have any more missing pictures in here, right? I think I showed you. Okay, cool. So look, this right here shows a wide shoreline image with 3 sources added. These are blue arrows. One is by some like camped out place where they got the you know, the little canopies and stuff up out there, right? Block you from the sun, right? One is on a boat. It shows a high detail of the top of this boat has like some kind of on it. I don't know, not called on it, but a top. You know what I'm saying? On the top of this boat. And this boat right here. So these boats stand out. They say useful for anchorage scale orientation to show you that how these boats were all anchored. See what I'm saying? Then remember, boat X, they don't know when it moves. Not precise geolocation without a camera position data though. All right? Look. So look. Dick right here. Let me show you how boat X is missing. Look. Look. This is the boat. See, they pointing to these things. So this is how you get to differentiate what boat is what. As far as decals on the side, maybe a motor on the back, how it look, whether it's black or white, whether the boat has stripes on the side. These things, these tops, these T-tops or rag tops or whatever these tops are, garments on the top of the boat is how they're trying to find each thing. They're locating each thing, right? Distinctions. So we got boat number 2 in this image. We got boat number 3. Remember, there's boat number 1, boat number 2, boat number 3, boat X, and then the boat that they're taking this image on, which is a POV of boat number 1. But the first POV was from Warren's boat, which is the Palms Beach. Warren was on the Palm Beach boat, okay? So right now, we don't see the Palm Beach. This is boat number 1's POV now, right? But boat X is missing. Where did boat X go? Where did boat X go? Look, when did the Triton begin taking on water? The Triton, right here, this line right here. You see me? Zoom it in. When did the Triton begin taking on water? Not established by the supplied evidence. How? How they don't know that? Why? Because they canceled the sea tow. We don't know if they said they taking on water from the very beginning. And if you were taking on water from the very beginning, why are you making all those moves going to make 10 stops? And then y'all going to sleep and take naps and all types of shit. You serious? Y'all took a quick nap? You sure? But you have Nolan's phone. Don't call his mom to give it to him. And the only time that she could make a report is around 11 o'clock at night. After 5, 3 o'clock the last time y'all seen him. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. But y'all have his phone in the truck, not even in the boat, in the truck, and say that he basically left it because he didn't want nothing to happen to the phone, get damaged or something. Think about this, yo. Think about this. Use your brain for it. He don't have a phone, regardless of who he's riding back with. You need to contact his mother to say, yo, look, Nolan stayed with some friends or whatever. He's supposed to be coming home, but I got his phone. So, you know what I'm saying? If you want to call him, tell him, call me, or you want to get his phone, then I'm going to come by and give you his phone. None of that. The woman got to wait and track my phone and all of that to even come to one of your houses to find the phone. Did you even want to give her the phone at all? Did you think she was going to find the phone at all? Were y'all thinking of what to do with the phone? Did Nolan really forget his phone in the truck? Did he leave it in the truck? What? Why go all the way to an island, bro, and not bring your phone? So we got to get back to this. I'm gonna show y'all some other crucial evidence in this report right here. But it just goes to show you that something fishy is going to hell on, bruh. It's shady business going on here, bruh. Shady as hell. Let me go back and bring this up. Let me bring up this other image. Yeah. It's crazy. It's really, really crazy, son. So now I'm trying to just make sense of it all. So when you listening to this lady speaking, I'm giving you evidence. Not we just hearing somebody talk and you're like, oh shit, that sounds cool. No, I'm showing you paperwork. I'm showing you images. I'm showing you things that's putting together her timelines and the things that she's saying to you. Because she's putting this thing together. I got all this information in my head. I'm reading everything and I'm seeing everything. So I got a lot of suspicions in my own mind. But I'm peeping what she's saying. And I'm jacking it, bro. I'm jacking her. I'm jacking her, son. I'm jacking her.
So he says it right there that Bart pulls them out. They leave at 4:30. And you may be thinking, well, he pulled them after. He towed them after. But
out. Yeah, we left at 4:30, but we really weren't pulled out away from everybody. We were probably about a quarter mile out, and we had the towing strap pulled from, Bart's port side cleat or starboard side cleat, and he was on our starboard side bow, and so he was rubbing on his power pole. So Bart turned around, pulled up next to our boat, and we were just trying to get situated.
Well, that's when Y called Tito.
we know that that phone call was around 4 p.m. to the private towing company. Now, in my last video, I went and...
So you called them around 4 p.m. to the private tow company. Where were they at all when they called them? Think about this. 4 p.m. He said they left at 4:30. He said they left at 4:30, bro. Crazy as hell, son. He said they left at 4:30, bro. That's a lie, bro. That's a lie, son. That's a lie, son. That's a lie, bro. That's a lie, bro. These people is lying, bro. Oh my God, bro. What happened to Nolan, bro? What happened to Nolan Wells, bro? Big question, bro. Big question, bro. It's crazy, bro. Fucking hell, bro. Jesus
the
Christ.
detail with the Bart, the fight, all of that stuff, the discrepancies between like the neck of water and then suddenly being in 31 feet of water, etc. I'm going to skip over that. Now, the last data point for the GPS was at about 8 o'clock that night. So then they go over to a female friend's house to go to the pool. And yet instead of joining his friends in the pool, this is what Warren did.
That you're at a lady friend's house.
Right. I never got to the pool. I talked to her dad for a while, and all my friends were downstairs. I went upstairs, talked to her dad. We were talking about boats and stuff, and I've been with my friends all day. I was just talking to everybody, but
So you talked to the
Talk
young
about
lady's
boats.
dad, and then how long was it before you realized, or you guys realized that? Well, where's Nolan at?
All right, well, now I got to stop your ass, because what 18-year-old goes to a friend's house to party? All the friends go downstairs to the pool area, and he goes upstairs to talk to her father about boats. Mind you, these children had been drinking all day long.
You go up there to talk about boats. Boy, y'all chilling, partying. But you go up there to talk to the dad about boats. Of all things, bro. Some boring ass shit like boats. Are you serious? You got girls, all type of shit going on. You young. Are you serious? Are you serious to me right now? Does this make sense to you? How does it make sense?
And he and his buddies don't go home until 3 a.m., mind you. Now, I know it's been a while since I've been 18, but that's a long day in the hot, in the sun, drinking. Sounds to me like you were talking to this dad to help with the story. And then you go downstairs and your friends just so happen to be talking about Nolan, and then you're like, oh my God, I should call the Coast Guard.
I went back downstairs, and all my friends were just hanging out, and my buddy Wyatt had a dress,
He went upstairs to talk to the dad, whoever it was, about a goddamn defense, an alibi. So they come back down to call Coast Guards? Let's listen what happens. Allegedly, bro. It's all allegedly. But let's think about
talk about Nolan. I was like, well, where is Nolan? Have y'all heard from him?
It just seems pretty convenient that after his powwow upstairs with the father of his friend, he comes downstairs, and then all of a sudden they start talking. Have you seen Nolan? No, I haven't seen Nolan. Have you seen Nolan? Maybe we should call this person. We should call his mom. Almost seems like they actually go back downstairs after talking about what they should do about the situation with the dad, or whatever it is they were really doing at that time, came downstairs and started talking about Nolan publicly so that everybody at the party could be organic witnesses to when the conversation happened. Because he kept contradicting himself. He kept saying, oh, I wasn't too worried about it. But then also we know that they can kill people. But also, you know, like maybe I would just call the Coast Guard, you know, just to make sure it's okay. I'm so mad I didn't save it. But in one of these interviews, they said that Katie was supposed to come to the party with them later, which is why Nolan said he was going to hang back with her. So why would they dry snitch to their friend's mom before getting in contact with Katie? So as I was making this video, I caught something so big it changes everything. Throughout this entire interview, Warren insisted that Bart's boat was a tide line. He was so sure of it, said it over and over and over again, claimed that there were 20 to 30 people on that boat. By the way he talks about boats and the equipment and stuff, it seems like he has some general knowledge of it and knows a lot about boats. So maybe y'all can tell me why in this report, when they gathered the GPS evidence, does it say that Bart was driving a tide craft, not a tide line? They're entirely different designs, purposes, manufacturing styles. Mind you, this is what tide crafts look like. They ain't fitting 20 people on them. This is more what tide line boats look like, y'all. So did Bart bring 2 boats with him? Warren said Bart's dad was originally supposed to go with them. Tide line boats don't fit 20 people either. So was there a 4th boat out there? Okay, this is my full Nolan Wells timeline with my supporting evidence.
Was there another boat out there, son? Think about that. He said like 30 people on that boat, bruh. We just seen that boat right there that he's talking about, bruh. That boat is not fitting no 30 people on that boat. And who did Katie get a ride back with? That's my question. Who did Katie get a ride back with? Okay? Katie seems shady. Okay? A bunch of black people coming out to say, Katie ain't like that. This Katie at Katie crib, y'all. This Katie. This Katie's house. Everybody black except for like 3 white people. Facts of life. I'm not saying Katie's a racist or none of that. I'm not a racist either, so I'm not going to say that. But I'm just saying it's just something very shady about Katie. And was Katie the one that was on the boat with the teal bathing suit? Yeah, the 2-piece with the white hat on her head? Was it her? Because remember, Bart is maintaining he never knew her. Bart is even going as far to say he's suing content creators who never knew her. He said, I only met that girl that day at that day of 4th of July, bro, when she was there with Nolan and one of them. That's what he says, bro. Want me to read to you what Bart's attorney came out to say? Want me to find it? I'll find it right now for you and tell you, look, I'll find it all for you, show you the work, show you the actual paperwork, man. Look, Bart Edmonston, lawyer speaks, right? Let's find it. I want to find exactly what the lawyer says. Enhanced CTO. Where's that? 3 days ago. Okay, cool. Family, former teammate of Nolan Wells, hires attorney. I think this is it. I can read this one. Has cooperated with law enforcement. Where's the guy's name? Attorney. Below the full statement for the Edmonston. The Edmonston family expressed the sincere. Hold up. I want to. Damn, which one I had the other day? I want to hear from the lawyer what the lawyer is saying. Slandered our family, doxed. Hold up. I want the part when he says that he doesn't know Katie and met Katie the same day. Hold up. Dangerous speculation, no hazard, the bright fabrication. Hold up. Reviewed. He also permitted inspection of his boat by GPS device. He did that. Bart did that, and another person did that too. I think Wyatt, if I'm not mistaken. They both got the agents, the officers went out to their homes and did a GPS. You put the GPS, like some kind of data, and you take all of the information from the boat's log and shows where the boat went and all these different things. Hold up. Yeah. When in nearby, hold up, man. I might have to just read this for y'all. Let me just read this for y'all and show y'all. Let me screen share and show y'all. Okay. We'll get back to sister. All right, cool. Let me just read it for y'all. Because this ain't the one I want. I want to get you the one when he's talking exactly about how he didn't know Katie at all. You know what I'm saying? Which is mad weird, bro. It's mad weird. Like, remember, also this before I read this, you have to think about this. Listen to this. Look at the line that I highlighted. This is from the Marine Patrol Police Report. So the first thing I was just showing you was the MDMR. The MDMR, the Mississippi Department of Marine Resources, the timeline, the geospatial timeline of what happened, where the boats were parked and all of those things, all right? This right here is the actual police report that was made, all right? Nolan, and that when they left the island, he was in the company of a unknown female. Unknown female. But Warren, in that interview, that same interview with Officer Tatum, he says Nolan was cradled up with Katie, with the girl or whatever the case. You know what I'm saying? And another person said like something like that. Like they looked at each other and Nolan laughed or something like that when he was with Katie. You know what I'm saying? But now no one knows who Katie is. But then when we go to Katie's Facebook or how the people was coming out to defend Katie, one person wrote and said, listen, Katie had never hurt Nolan. What do you mean Katie had never hurt Nolan? So how close was Katie and Nolan? Right? So everybody know each other, right? Katie and Nolan look like they knew each other before they got to Horn Island, obviously, because somebody wrote on the Facebook saying that she wouldn't do that to him. She would never hurt him. Right? How you know what she would do to him? The fuck? How you know? Right? And if you friends and y'all talking to chicks and stuff like that, maybe you would bring this up, right? See what I'm saying? But now Katie is a unknown female, which was weird because this popped up a few times in this police report, is that she's an unknown female. How is Katie an unknown female, bro? That don't make sense. That does not make sense to me at all, man. Look, let me read this to you. Let me zoom it so you can see it a little closer. Let me see if I could. The Edmiston family expresses its sincere condolences to the family of Nolan Wells for the tragic loss. Like so many in Ocean Springs, across Mississippi, and across the nation, our prayers for answers and peace are with his parents, family, and friends. Out of respect for the Nolan's family and the integrity of the investigative process, we have chosen not to draw public attention to ourselves as unfettered speculation raged. Recent targeted attacks on our son, Bart Jr., now make our silence impossible. Hundreds of Mississippi Gulf Coast residents journeyed out to Horn Island to celebrate the holiday on 4th of July. Home from college, Bart Jr. was among them, and he piloted his own boat to Horn Island and piloted his own boat home. But did he have two boats out there? Or did he have access to another boat? Because they're saying basically the boat that he had could not fit 30 people on that boat. But Warren just said he had about like 30 people over there. There's a party on Bart's boat. And Katie probably was over there allegedly with the teal swimsuit. Okay, we're going to get into that. So when a nearby boat suffered a mechanical malfunction on the afternoon of the 4th of July, Bart Jr. gave advice and direct aid to the distressed vessel. And as part of, he boarded the distressed vessel. Damn it, Bart. He was on that boat. You know what I'm saying? You on your own boat. What you need? Throw the tow line, tow the boat. What you over there for? What? Was Katie on his boat now? Did him and Nolan have a kerfuffle? Did the kerfuffle happen with him on the boat and not on the island? When did it happen? Something happened, bro. There's a red discoloration in the back of Nolan's head, in the subcutaneous tissues, the soft tissues of his skull. What's that about? Some people saying they putting it to like a chokehold. It could have been a chokehold, when you put it to the back of your head. I don't know. And don't you think it's a coincidence that he was found 2 days later in a spot where they all were searching, even his own mother and the coach and his father just searched, as well as everybody else, helicopters, drones, police department, fire department, everybody searched. Right? He pops up in the same place. But he's found 2 days later on the 6th. Mississippi State does an autopsy on the 7th, the day right after he was found. The second investigation, because remember, Ben Crump and the family, they wanted to do their own investigation, right? So they wanted the body as well to do their own separate autopsy. That's called the second autopsy. I did a video on the second autopsy. Go check that, right? On the second autopsy happens on the 10th. Why couldn't they get the body on the 8th, right after you were done with it? We know that more time that the body is staying, right? Even though it's on ice, the body is decomposing more and more, which make it obscure. All like bruising, like other kind of bruising that could be possible. It's harder to see or find these things just based on decomposition alone. And then we don't have none of the neck structures and no lung. How are we going to tell if a person drowned without the neck structure and without the lung? Your neck structure can also show you that, because when you go underwater and take in water, your throat muscles begin to spasm. Like you, same thing like that. Like you being asphyxiated. It's the same similar look. But then, even though you're in the water, it depends on how did you enter the water? Forcefully, willfully? How did you enter the water? This is a lot of things which we don't understand as well. We don't know. It's undetermined, right? But if he's in the water, just because you're in water, right? Let's say you unalive and you go inside water, right? And you floating around in the water for 2 days, but you was unalive first and you go in the water, right? Just because your body's in water, face down in water, there's not going to be no water in your lung because you didn't breathe in the water for the water to get into your lungs. So it'll be water in the body because the body is sucking up water and the body got pores and all this. We sucking in water, obviously getting bloated in the water, but you won't have water in your lungs. So they never gave us the lungs. They never gave us the neck structures. They said they're going to give it to a grand jury first. Why? I brought up on one of my last videos, an actual guy that worked with prosecutions. And he said, listen to me. When you go to the grand jury, especially without a suspect, we don't have no suspect. You just got evidence and things that you think is deeming as evidence, right? He said 99.9% of the time, the grand jury is just going to side with whatever the prosecution feels and the prosecution thinks. So 9 times out of 10, what's that going to be? You heard what they said from the beginning, right? No foul play. Sad as it's going to be, telling you, bro, this is how this is going to spin out, bro. No foul play, bro. Think about everything and all the videos that everybody's making. It's all on deaf ears. Think about that. When a nearby boat suffered a mechanical malfunction on the afternoon of July 4th, Bart Jr. gave advice and direct aid to the distressed vessel. As part of this, he boarded the distressed vessel, removed his transom plug, got back on his boat and towed the distressed vessel for a short distance. These actions allowed water that had accumulated on the distressed vessel to drain. Where did he tow them from? Did he tow them from the shoreline where I just showed you the images of how all the boats was anchored together? Because they said they took on water earlier than that. I thought they were just going to speed out, break the damn boat with the speed, trimming up and doing too much. Was the boat taking on water from the beginning? These are the questions. Bart Jr. believes that more than 20 passengers were spread across the two boats to witness these events. More than 20 people was on boat. More than 20. He's saying out their own mouth. And that woman just told us that the boat that he was on, these boats don't need that. Did they have access to a bigger boat? Ask this question, but listen to me, bro. Over 20 passengers. There's a whole party. Was Katie amongst those people, bro? Over 20 people, whole party on this boat, you know, because they boat don't have these 20 people on the boat that they call for the sea tow, right? There's just a few of them on this boat, bro. Think about this. They got like 30 people here. So let's say it's 5 people on the initial boat that call for the sea tow audio, right? So that means that's 25 people on his boat. Do you understand this? Do you understand what I'm saying to you? That boat that we showing you right there don't fit no damn 20 people. The sea tow boat, it don't, bro. So where's all these people fitting, bro? It's a hazard to have that many people on a certain smallest boat. It's a hazard, bro. Look, Coast Guard probably stop you and say, listen, man, y'all bugging. Y'all got too much people on this boat. 20 passengers were spread across the two boats to witness these events. Others may have also witnessed from the waters or the shore. How can people witness it from the shore unless you're close to the damn shore when this happens? People are drinking. People are outside. People are doing their thing. You think they worried about you over there on that boat out there that you think taking the water out there? We don't even know what's going on. Think about this, man. Think. Think. Others may have also witnessed it from the water or the shore. You sure about that? So how close you got to be to the shore for them? So that mean that your boats that are taking on water from by the shore, right? But did that make sense? Because if you sailed off all good and you didn't have no water you was taking on and you was good, why would we think anything when you out there in the water? Why would we think that? You got both, y'all got girls over there, y'all partying. Why would we think that? Y'all both stop next to each other. Y'all stop next to each other. Why would we think something's wrong with you or your boat, bro? And we all chilling, partying. It's 4th of July, bro. We all drinking, bro. Like, why would we think that, bro? Now these people were there to witness, and other people can, the 20 people across the boat, because guess what? Phone calls have been had. Phone calls have been made. Stories have been stitched together. Think for yourselves. When Nolan's disappearance and death became to light, Bart Jr. freely and fully cooperated with law enforcement investigating the tragedy. He sat for interviews. He answered all of the questions that he was asked, and he had shared all his recollections from July 4th, 2026. Bart Jr. also compiled a list of potential witnesses. I bet he compiled a list of witnesses. You sure? Funny, right? Coincidental, right? Coinky dink. I bet. Including passengers on the boat that he was piloting to share with investigators. He allowed his phone to be viewed and shared requested photographs and videos from that day with law enforcement. He also permitted the inspection of his boat and GPS device. He did that, because I read that in the police report that he did this. Him and another guy did this as well. I think it was Wyatt, if I'm not mistaken, because they met Wyatt and Wyatt's mom, if I'm not mistaken, because I think the last name is Pyron or something like that. Anyway. Go watch my video on the police report. Go watch the video on the timeline, the geospatial timeline. Go find the videos. They're on my channel, lives. He did all of this without counsel, without requiring warrants, and without hesitation. He did. I give him that. Bart Jr. has been an open book during this process. He, like so many other in our community, wants a thorough, fair, and impartial investigation that does not start with a pre-dawn conclusion, but seeks and finds the truth. At no point in this process has Bart Jr. even identified as a suspect known in Nolan's unaliving. This has not stopped people from engaging in dangerous speculation, nor has it stopped outright fabrications. With each new name mentioned by the media or on social media, a new mob immediately argues that the person must somehow be culpable. Facts that invented out of thin air. AI is used to distort or create photographs, videos, or audio, and people begin to draw unsubstantiated conclusions, and reckless threats follow. This week, it has been Bart Jr.'s turn to be accused by thousands of online strangers who do not know him, who do not know any relevant facts, and who do not care about our community or the truth of what happened. We grieve for the loss of Nolan's family, but as a family, we are also concerned for the lives of our children and the safety of the others being convicted in a court of public opinion without facts in need, contrary to known evidence. We cannot allow our son to be slandered, our family to be doxxed and threatened, and including threats made as recently as yesterday on Bart Jr.'s life, without attempting to correct the record and hold egregious actors responsible for the danger that they are manufacturing. To that end, we have retained legal counsel for the purpose of pursuing recourse against those individuals fabricating lies about him and our family. And the first cease and desist spoliation letter is being issued today to an online user who originated many of the falsehoods against Bart. That means somebody's going to be sued here. Who's one of the first people? I've seen a couple of people. I reacted to one video. I'm not going to name the person now because I'm not a snitch. You know what I'm saying? And I think I made the video. I think I put it in members though. Whatever. Flip the thumbnail around a little bit, put a little question mark on that. Knocked it out, but yeah. So I ain't gonna say who anybody was. You know what I mean? Because that'd be just a blatant snitch, and I ain't gonna do that. This user shared pictures of our home. Could be a person on TikTok. Could be. Our residential address, land plats, and information about our work while simultaneously falsely asserting through various videos and posts that Bart Jr. is a suspect, that he caused or contributed to Nolan's unaliving, because they're saying like he choked him, or that he is, allegedly, he is involved in a cover-up of Nolan's unaliving. It is a toxic combination in an emotionally charged environment. None of these things are true. There is no evidence to support these claims. Let us be clear that Bart Jr. helped a boat that was in distress. He did not unalive a friend. Witness the unaliving of a friend. He's a friend, but no one knows Katie. He's a friend, but no one knows Katie. Think for yourself. No one knows Katie, right? Look, Nolan, and that when they left, he was in the company of an unknown female, and that he chose to remain on the island. How, bruh? So no one knows Katie now, coincidentally. Makes sense. Makes sense for yourself, bruh. Weird as hell. Look, where I'm at. A friend. These are fictions made up by people with no actual knowledge of the events of that day. Unfortunately, those frictions are seen by millions of people and often repeated. Now, our family is working with the FBI, the Mississippi Attorney General, and the U.S. Attorney's Office and local law enforcement to determine if federal and state cyber stalking crimes have been committed and to address the direct threats to our son's life. We will continue to pursue all available legal remedies. We will not be deterred by whether offenders have the ability to compensate us for our damages, because they don't care about money. That's what the lawyer said. I got to find a lawyer's letter. I'm going to find it. So I'm going to read this real quick, and we might find truths in here, which we did already, I think. So, right? This is not about money. See, there you go. I told you, that's what the lawyer said. We are working to ensure the safety of our family, but also to push back on the very mob rule that ignores the truth, undermines the rule of law, destroys the presumption of innocence, and ultimately makes it harder for justice to prevail. We know at this moment will pass and that the truth will win out. The reckless mob will move on to the next big thing, but in their wake, they will leave a grieving family, young men whose reputations have been forever tarnished, and a community of people who used to smile at each other in the grocery store, but who trust just a little less now. It is a tragic reality of a society full of internet sleuths, unconcerned by the damage their lies wreak. Now, we would simply like to implore people to think deeply about the potential consequences of the things that they say without proof or knowledge. Ask yourself, do I know this to be true? Are the things that I'm saying likely to help or hurt? Am I doing this because it is right or because I crave attention? Spreading false information does not honor Nolan's life nor his family's loss. It pulls us further away from the truth. We can all be better in these moments. End close quote. But I'm gonna find for y'all. Hold up. I'm gonna find for y'all when Nolan's lawyer not Nolan, Bart's lawyer. I gotta find Bart lawyer. I gotta find his lawyer's talk. Hold up, man. I'm gonna find it right now, man. I found it the other day. Did I read it from TMZ? Did I read it from TMZ? Oh no, this is it. This is it. It came from the Mississippi Press. I think this one was it. Who's this lady? I think it's this. Oh yeah, here we go. 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 Look. Boom. Right? Here we go. This is the one. Fine. Told you. Later, bro. I ain't subscribing. Move your ass. Look. Okay, make sure we got it from the top. Who's this woman in the middle? Oh, this. took steps to sue her. Kimberly, I've seen her before. She's a social media person. For defamation on July 29, 2026 over social media posts that he says imply that he may have played a role in Nolan Wells' unaliving. Okay, this woman right here. I think that's the same woman that we've been looking at, right? And reacting to. But I've seen this woman's face before. That's a fact. So that's one of the people that's getting sued for a fact. That's what I told you. It's a TikToker. Cool. So we just established that. We got that right out the way. Okay, now, boom. Let me just make sure y'all can hear me. Cool. Everybody make sure y'all hitting that like button. Everybody subscribe. Hype. I want y'all voting on the polls. I want y'all voting too as well, all right? Let me get into reading this so y'all can see what the lawyer Latino says, okay? That he never knew Katie at all. I read this as well on my channel. You can go down my channel, check the videos, bro. I got a whole playlist that I'm creating now. I got like freaking 20 videos now. Look, Bart is, and salute to me. Reading Rainbow. I taught myself to read. Do I do it well, job? Drop a damn like. Exactly. I'll show you a bunch of my friends. But my mom said, my mom said that happiness like the sunshine come down when you're feeling blue. Sound like the water boy. I bring you to one of my friends down the way. You can't read. I had to teach him. Look. Bart Edmiston Jr., a former teammate of Nolan Wells on the Ocean Springs High School football team, is set to pursue defamation claims after alleging that a flurry of unfounded accusations on social media led to an unaliving threat. Russ Latino, a lawyer and the CEO of the non-profit news publication Magnolia Tribune. I've been following this paper. This is a newspaper. I've been following it online. Just so happened they hired him, and he works for this publication, the CEO of this. Coinky Dink? Jinkies, Velma. Jinkies. Exactly. Anyway, announced that he was representing Edmiston in a Facebook post alleging that defamatory statements are putting Bart and his family and friends in harm's way. Latino, which is his name, I don't know if he's Spanish, sent out the first of what he says will be a multiple cease and desist letters today demanding an apology and correction from influencer Kimbra Lee. All right, who has more than 200,000 followers across Facebook and Instagram. A U.S. Park Ranger found 18-year-old Nolan Wells' body on Horn Island on the south of Mississippi Gulf Coast 2 days later after he traveled there to celebrate the 4th of July with a large friend group who took multiple boats. After the boat that he rode out on began taking on water due to a faulty bilge pump, Wells' friends who were on that boat said that he declined to return to shore with them, saying that he would return later on another boat. One of the friends, Warren Hudson, called Wells' mother and the U.S. Coast Guard at around 11 p.m. to report him missing. Why would he call him at 11 p.m.? They said the last time they seen Nolan was 3 o'clock. Yeah? 4:30 is when they said they left. The CTO code looked like it's coming around 4 something. Before 4:30, before you even left. Yeah? He says when they get back and they go to the house, remember they made all these stops on the boat. He said he ate, Warren. They ate food. He stopped. He even took a nap. He said he went to the friend's father. Remember, the kids and everybody's there partying downstairs all together. They was all drinking all day. But yet he says he goes upstairs to talk with the friend's father about boats. I said, I showed you this on this video with the TikToker. Go back and see it. He goes upstairs to talk to the father about boats. When he comes downstairs, they say, hey, man, where's Nolan? And all of this other shit. A word yet? This is when they think about that. Did he go up there to come up with a story with the father? Did the father speak to him about what they need to do and go about this? Think about this. Now they call the Coast Guards and all that at 11 p.m. What made you think that he's not home? And then his phone was left in one of y'all trucks, right? Look up here on the top paragraph. You see, we find 18. Find an 18-year-old. You see 18-year-old? Find it on the top paragraph. 18-year-old son, the 18-year-old son, Christine, rode to Horn Island on a vessel with friends and was last seen around 1500 hours, and his phone was in a friend's truck. We thought the phone was on the boat. No. The phone was on a friend's truck before they even got on the boat to go to Horn Island. So he's already on Horn Island with his phone in the truck. What sense does this make? Tell me what sense this make, all right? Okay, though the circumstances and the cause of Wells's unaliving remains unclear, speculation has spread across social media platforms, with many users accusing multiple of Wells's friends and their family members of being involved in his unaliving or having racist motives. Now, those kinds of accusations, Latino, the lawyer, alleged on Wednesday morning have endangered his client's safety. Bart received a credible threat, unaliving threat, yesterday because some of the made up speculation on this and other sites. The FBI, state, and local law enforcement have all been activated, Latino said in this announcement. Edmiston graduated from Ocean Springs High School in 2023, and he is currently a punter at the University of Wyoming. Social media users began spreading speculation about the Edmiston after claiming to hear the name Bart mentioned in a garbled audio at the beginning of the call that one of Wells' friends placed to Cito to report that the boat was sinking. Now, the friends on the imperiled boat ultimately canceled the Cito, which is weird, after Bart arrived on his own boat to assist them, and it's more than 20 people is on these two boats. These are the witnesses that Bart's claiming, okay? In his cease and desist letter to the lady, Kimberly, Latino alleged that she had referred to the Edmiston as one of 3 suspects implicated in the unaliving of Mr. Wells, implied that Mr. Edmiston engaged in a specific conduct that caused or contributed to Mr. Wells' unaliving, and implied that Edmiston concealed information or otherwise acted inconsistently with innocence, and that he attempted to cover up his alleged role. The letter also accused her of repeated doxing efforts to have included publishing his address, pictures of his home, and land plats of his property. Now, the letter demands that Lee apologize, issue corrections, and preserve evidence. Such letters are the first step in a defamation lawsuit. The Mississippi Free Press has reached out to Kimberly for comment. She did not respond, but she has posted 2 videos since receiving the cease and desist letter. Defamation means that you've got to prove that what I'm saying isn't true. And everything that I'm saying is coming from the official Coast Guard's reports, official Cito audio, official GPS coordinates that were published, Lee said in one video on Wednesday evening. This is official stuff that it's published. So unless the Mississippi Department of Marine Resources is publishing fake stuff, then whatever I'm saying is based off of official documents and that those people release. So I am so confused at what's being defamed here, because I am just going off the Coast Guard's reports that everyone is privy to. But Lee has made several allegations that are not in official public report. In one post on July 23rd, she alleged that any legally trained mind can see this clear as day that this is a unaliving. I mean, a M, a H, right? This word, right? She listed what she called several Bart facts, claiming that Edmiston attempted to conceal involvement by claiming to be in Wyoming for 1 year, because he goes to school in Wyoming. He's a punter on the team. That was based on a comment Edmiston made in an Instagram post early in July, denying that he had attending a June 27 pool party and saying that he had not been in past Christian for over a year. He has not denied that he was at Horn Island on July 4th. However, in a video on Wednesday evening after receiving a cease and desist letter, Lee called on Jackson County District Attorney Angel Myers McCraft to charge several of Wells's friends with a crime without specifying any by name. Angel, just effing charge them with something, boo. You know that they're going to get off anyway, Lee said in the video. Can you just effing charge them? She said, it's not like they're going to get convicted anyway. Just effing charge them with something. Like, what's the F's going on? Asked for comment Wednesday evening, Latino did not respond to her specific comments. The time for the Facebook rants is nearing an end, and the time for court is drawing nigh. And I like our chances, he told the Mississippi Free Press on Wednesday evening. Lee, who is also a rapper and a comedian, I think I know him more as a comedian, has since suggested in another video that publicity from such a lawsuit could make her rich and promote her music career, comparing herself to artists like Cardi B and Afro Man. To prove defamation, private citizens must prove that the defendant made a false statement, that the other people saw it, and that the defendant was negligent and did not use reasonable care to ensure that the statement was true before sharing it, and that it caused an actual injury, such as financial loss, reputational harm, or disruption to their lives. Unlike public figures, private citizens suing for defamation do not have to prove actual malice, which would require showing that the defendant knew that the statement was false and shared that anyway. Facts invented out of thin air. In a statement on Wednesday afternoon, the West. Okay. I think I read this. At no point has Bart ever identified as a suspect. I read that. Hold up. Okay, yeah, I read that. Latino said in a post on Wednesday. Okay, here we go. Latino said in a post on Wednesday. I'm right here. Okay, boom. Latino said in a post on Wednesday that some social media posts from various users have used a high school photo of Edmiston, who is now 21, claiming that it shows him with Katie McCormack, a woman who Wells was spending time with on Horn Island on that day that he was unalived. Now, Latino wrote that some on social media have gone on to falsely claim that Bart had an intimate relationship with Miss McCormack, and that he unalived Nolan Wells because Wells was speaking to her. The person in the circulating photograph with a much younger Bart is not Katie McCormack. Bart is not now, nor has ever been in a relationship with Katie McCormack. He did not know who she was before this tragedy even occurred, he wrote. He doesn't even know who she is before this day. So she was just a jumper on a boat. So I'm telling you, let's make sense of this shit, bro. He said he didn't even know her. He is older than them. He's 21. They're 18. Okay. Bart is the hometown hero. He's supposed to be going to the NFL and all type of shit. You know what I'm saying? But everybody knows everybody, obviously. Bart knows Nolan because the mother, in their message, in their own message, their letter, the Edmiston family's letter, they said that he is they're trying to say that he did something to a friend. So that means that him and Bart are friends. So they know each other regardless of what. You can't say you don't know Nolan. He knows Nolan because that's what the family wrote in their letter to the public. Okay, cool. But no one knows Katie. Katie's an unknown woman. Remember who called? Warren and them called. Remember he said Warren called the Coast Guard. Warren called them and all that, right? So the first report that we have in the police report is saying that he was with an unknown female. So Warren didn't know the woman, but Warren also said in that same interview that he saw he saw Nolan and Katie cradled. He used the word cradled, not hugged up, not loved up, cradled in his arms. Let me be abundantly clear. Let me just read this one part again. Bart is not now or nor has ever been in a relationship with Katie McCormack. He did not know who she was before this tragedy even occurred. Let me be abundantly clear. Bart Edmiston did not unalive or in any way contribute to the tragic unaliving of Nolan Wells. Latino continued. He had no motive to do so. All he did was help a boat that was in distress. He has fully and freely cooperated with authorities, sharing every bit of information he knows, providing access to his boat and his GPS and his phone, and sharing witness lists with investigators. But they're going to be running down on some people. The toxic, look, without the official toxicology report, we don't even have that yet. We don't have that yet. And I showed you, right? The second autopsy. I'll show y'all that too as well. Hold up. Make sure y'all like it, man. Make sure y'all like it. Okay, look. Second autopsy of Nolan Wells. Look. Boom. Okay. Boom. Let me share this to you now. Look. Boom. This is the second autopsy, okay? Remember, Nolan Wells went missing on the 4th. He was found on the 6th. On the 7th, the Mississippi State conducted the first autopsy of Nolan Wells. That's when they removed the neck structures, the internal neck structures, and the lung, and held that, okay? So now, remember, there's two investigations that's happening. There's a separate investigation that's happening by Ben Crump and the family of the Wells-Wansley family, right? So instead of them receiving the body on the 8th, because that's the next nearest day, y'all done finished with the body on the 7th. So why can't we get the body on the 8th, right? No, they hold the body for a couple of more days, right? They give the body to Nolan people, Ben Crump and everybody, on the 10th. So the 10th is when they actually conduct their autopsy, which is the second autopsy, which is this preliminary report that you're seeing right now on your screen. This is the second autopsy on the 10th. Okay, on the 10th. Cool. But actually, this is saying on the 19th. Yo, it was saying on the 10th. I don't hope it wasn't on the 19th, bro. Could have been on the 19th. I don't know. It's crazy though. But they didn't get the body right after. And we know that the body's decomposing, right? So cool. Preliminary report, the second autopsy of the unaliving of Nolan Xavier Wells. Undetermined cause of unaliving, manner of unaliving, also undetermined pending investigation. Okay, cool. All right. See, okay, look, second autopsy date. See, the 10th. We see it here. Exactly. I seen the 19th. That's probably when they drew up this paperwork. But look, we could see the second autopsy date is the 10th. So they had to wait 3 days just to even get the body. And then when they received the body, they didn't even have the internal neck structures nor the lung. How would you tell if a person was asphyxiated, or how would you tell if a person was drowned? You need the internal neck structures. These things are bruised and stuff like that. Shows that you're being choked. Even when you're drowning, you intake water. Your throat muscles begin to spasm. They leave traces. The lung, if you could go in water, if you was unalive before you went into water, there will be no water in your lungs, even though your body's taking in water still, because you're soaking around in water like a sponge, but there'll be no water in your lung. You have to do that to have water in your lung. You have to breathe in water, so there'll be no water in your lung. Focal area, red discoloration in the soft tissue, the subcutaneous tissues, right? This is where this at. Doesn't say that. I'm telling you what it is. In the soft tissue at the back of the head, occipital region. The body received after initial autopsy, which was happening on the 7th. B, marked for decomposition. It's already decomposing more and more, which makes it more obscure for you to see any other bruising. If his body did have bruising, it's harder to see it because the body's decomposing more and more every single day. Okay. So when the initial autopsy happened, that was closer. That was, remember, that's after he was missing for 2 days, and then they got the body. So on the 3rd day, they did an autopsy. They had the best chances of finding anything out about the body. Okay. Coronal incision of the scalp. C. Brain was removed. A Y-shaped incision of the anterior torso. The organs removed, accompanying the body and the body cavity. An anterior internal neck structure is absent, not received with the body. Why not let us see that? And they said they're only releasing that to a grand jury. Okay. Additional procedures performed during the second autopsy, a bilateral facial dissection, okay? No fractures, 1. No evidence of deep tissue injury, posterior head dissection, focal area of red discoloration in the soft tissue, the subcutaneous tissues on the back of the head and occipital region. No fractures, posterior neck dissection, no fracture, no evidence of deep tissue injury. Rib exposure dissection, no fractures, no evidence of deep tissue injury. Pelvic dissection, no fractures, no evidence of deep tissue injury. Subcutaneous and soft tissue and the dissection of the back, buttocks, and arms and legs, no evidence of deep tissue injury. Remote healed scars, a left angle. Histology, submitted. Toxicology, not performed. Toxicology, not performed. Why? Why? Okay, preliminary discussion and opinion. The forensic pathologist identified several limitations during the second autopsy that create barriers to establishing the definitive cause and the manner of the unaliving of Nolan Wells. The second autopsy, this is blurry too, and I'm reading the hell out this paperwork. Think about that. Drop a like. Vote on the poll. Share, subscribe to Udo and Go. Hit the notification bell. Do something. Make a move in the program. Don't sit around like Agent Smith waiting for Nia to come through. What happened? What's going on? All right. The second autopsy performed on Nolan Wells revealed marked decompositional changes. Marked decomposition can obscure the presence or absence of bruising on the skin surface, especially during the second autopsy examination. Okay, like I explained to you, the more days that they waited, it could obscure or absence of bruising on the skin, because now it all starts to look dark spots. The body's decomposing. You think it stays looking like you look? No, it's turning, it's rotting from the inside out. Okay, that's what's happening with the body. All right, cool. For these reasons, additional dissection procedures not performed during the first autopsy examination were performed to rule out potential blunt force injuries responsible for the unaliving. These procedures included the facial dissection, posterior head and neck dissection, dissection of the rib, pelvic dissections, and subcutaneous and deep soft tissue dissection of the back, buttock, arms, and legs, and there were no fractures or deep tissue injuries that could be identified. However, dissection of the back of the head during the layered posterior neck dissection revealed a 12 by 8 inch focal area of red discoloration in the deep soft tissues overlying the occipital bone. The etiology of this finding is unclear. There are no lacerations of the overlying skin nor fractures of the underlying skull. These findings are inconclusive for pre-mortem injury due to both the extensive decomposition, and the absence of the associated injuries. This finding, however, is significant enough to be highlighted in this preliminary report for further investigation. It is important to reiterate that this finding could not have been observed in the first autopsy because the posterior head and neck dissections were not performed. So they didn't even do this incision and this dissection that they did to even find that it looked like a discoloration. Could it be from an injury or whatever it's from? It's from something. It's just not there for no reason. It's like a spot like this in the back of the head that's all red. Okay. Another limitation faced by this forensic pathologist was the absence of the anterior internal neck structures, the tracheo, the laryngeal cartilages, the thyroid horn, and the hyoid bone, which were not received with the body. It is assumed that the initial pathologist retained these structures for additional evaluation. The retention of the anterior neck structures during the initial autopsy is common forensic pathology practice. Now, nevertheless, a posterior neck dissection performed without review of the anterior neck structures is incomplete. Therefore, this pathologist cannot rule out injury to the neck as a contributor or the cause of the unaliving of Nolan Wells. Okay? Because the initial autopsy rightfully removed the dissected each organ, there are additional limitations inherent in the second autopsy of Nolan Wells. The most significant of the limitations was the inability to directly observe the airway and lungs for water and directly observe the stomach for gastric contents, right? If he was alcohol, was he drunk like this, all of these things, the toxicology, they never got a chance to do that. See? In addition, the original toxicology results had not been received at the time of this report. Why are they dragging their feet? They did it on the 7th. Toxicology can take time. It can take weeks. It can take time too. But why are they not letting us know what's going on with the toxicology when we're trying to do the second autopsy? Cool. Lastly, in cases where unaliving has occurred in or around bodies of water with the suspicion of drowning, it is important to confirm how that person entered the water. This information is especially important for those unalivings of a person who can swim, which we know Nolan can swim. He on swim teams. So he's used to being in the water. He's like a fish. He's like a mermaid. One time I was in the beach and it was these group of girls. She was pretty as hell too. And she said, look at her. She's like a mermaid. He like a mermaid in the water, bro. No pun intended. Look, this information is especially important to the unaliving of those persons who can swim, as is the case with Nolan Wells at the time of this report. This forensic pathologist does not know the condition of Nolan Wells, i.e. the conscious or unconscious, forced or unforced. Was he conscious when he went in the water? Was he unconscious? Conscious or unconscious? Was he forced to go in the water, or was he unforced to go in the water? All of these things could take, right? But this is why you also need the airway, the internal neck structures, as well as the lung, which could show you if he breathed in water at all. Because if he was unalive before he went in that water, there'll be no water in your lungs, no matter how much water you're soaking up. Okay? You have to inhale water for it to be in your lungs. Okay? Think about that. All right. I.e., conscious or unconscious, forced or unforced before entering the water. Definitive circumstances of the unaliving are required to determine the manner of unaliving. For these reasons, this pathologist cannot rule out if any intervening non-accidental factors contributed to or caused the unaliving of Nolan Wells. With the following questions still outstanding: what were the circumstances that led to Nolan and Xavier entering the water? What was the body's position when found? I think he was found face down in the water. Was there water in the airway? Because if it don't matter if your body was in that water and you was unalive before you went in there, if you didn't breathe and take in water, there'll be no water in that airway. There'll be no water in that lung. Understand that, okay? Is there any evidence of injuries to the anterior neck structures? We never got the neck structures, so we don't know. We can't tell. Is there any evidence of intracranial hemorrhaging, subdural or subarachnoid? What was the composition of the stomach content? Hold up. Let's just break that word down too real quick. Cause we could do this, man. We're gonna break all this shit down. We ain't gotta sit here and think like we know every goddamn thing. We ain't surgeons. Hold up. It got something called the subdural and then the subarachnoid. Explain what both of those things in relation to the intracranial hemorrhaging. Explain all of that for me. What part does both play in the intracranial hemorrhaging? Hold up. Let Uda oot, son. Let Uda oot for you, boy. That's why I'm still alive out here. Dumb you dumb. I get the thinking. Look. Okay. Intracranial hemorrhaging is bleeding inside of the skull. The word subdural and subarachnoid describe where the bleeding is occurring. There are two different spaces around the brain. Here's the basic layout of the skull inside. The skull, the dura mater, the tough outer covering, the subdural space, the arachnoid matter, the subarachnoid space, the pia mater, and which is a thin layer that's stuck to the brain, and then it got the brain tissue. So subdural hemorrhage is a bleeding that's between the dura mater and the arachnoid matter. Okay, a subarachnoid hemorrhage is the bleeding between the arachnoid matter and the pia mater. Okay, that's what that is. It's layers to the brain. So it's either, so it looked like the subarachnoid is more inside, more closer to the tissue, the brain tissue. You know what I'm saying? And the subdural is more in the outer, like inside the skull, more outer layer in there. Okay, cool. What was the composition of the stomach contents? We don't know that. So people saying that he was heavily drunk. MDMR also reported that he was heavily drunk. We see it in, no, not this. We see it in this right here. Drink, heavy. On the bottom, we see date, time, location, subject, food intake, alcohol, heavy. Cool. Get that off the screen. Bang. Right? Hold up. My bad. What was that? Oh, that was the person that got arrested. All right, cool. Right? Boom. So now we don't know, though, with the stomach contents. We don't know. And what are the toxicology report findings? We don't know that as well. Okay? They never gave us that. But this is exactly where the red discoloration, and it shows all the way from one side of his head to the other side of his head. There's a red discoloration within the tissue, which shows that there's a bruise in there that shows that there is something that happened to the back of the head. And look at the head region. It's not on the neck. You could have hit your head here, fell and hit your head on a goddamn rock or some shit. Boom. Or fell and hit your head on a boat. Boom. And got knocked out and hit your head so hard that you could have passed away, bro. Literally right there. Think about this, okay? That shows you on the skull, the region of the skull, where it is at the back occipital bone, right? They show you exactly where it's at too as well, okay? Okay, look, and they show right here, the neck structures are absent. The internal neck structures are absent, as well as the lung. I don't know if they documented it there as far as the lung goes, but we know that the internal neck structures were gone as well, okay? So when we're thinking about this whole situation, It's a shady situation, bro. It's a really, really shady situation that we're dealing with here. Yeah, man. It's just, yo, son, we on it, bro. What's good, Tay? What's good, Willing? Everybody in the building. I'm saved by grace. Salute, 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 salute to some people in the chat. Let me salute y'all, man. Optimal instincts. Salute, salute. Like the spelling, how you spelled that. So if Bart getting these threats, then yeah, he's gonna get these threats because people see that he had motive, and the police aren't doing anything. Yeah, I know, bro. But he's suing though. He most definitely is suing, bro. Most definitely. I ain't mad with you, sis. I like your little short hair, dude. HT, what up, Baldy? HT Ball one, that's my dog. He said, and you know that these YT boys in the South, anytime they're in trouble, it's let's not do anything that's gonna ruin their lives, especially if these boys had promising careers, especially like Bart. He's supposed to be an NFL player. Then that's gonna be putting their city on. They town on. If he get to be a NFL player, imagine how much money that brings back to the county and to the town. Feel me? So that helps you. That most definitely helps you. H.C. Baldwin said it's because it's Mississippi, man. We under the corrupt PDF protecting TRUMP regime. Tell Brandon Tatum that straight up. But remember, he was working with them people, bro, as a urban lead, a manager of urban thing with the with Kirk and them. Bro, now we see why he act like that. Why he's always trying to be like, try to get some white validation. Now we understand it, even though I understood some of it, but we understand the layers and we understand that why he believed these young men automatically. I'm not saying that they did not know who did what. I don't know who did something, but I just know I don't believe that everybody's being as truthful. But him being an officer of the law, you would be looking for suspects in any situation if he was on the case. So how could you go jump out the window and believe the people that could be the initial suspects? If there is a suspect to be had, he already believes them. So what kind of police officer is you? Nolan's not here to be believed. He's unalive, bro. You already believe everybody that you're talking to, right? And you're doing interviews with the people that were there, and then you're basically walking them through the situation. And you went out on a limb to say that Nolan was doing cocaine when we don't have no toxicology report or nothing. So that means that they told you that he was doing cocaine, right? They told you he was drinking heavy, right? They showed you images and videos in their phone from the night before because they all get together and get by one friend's house and go leave to Horn Island at the same time. They've done this on multiple years. This ain't the first year they went to Horn Island. It's not the first year. They've done this on multiple years. And they always spend a night at a friend's house and then they leave all together. So they show you videos and pictures and images from the night before when they partying and drinking and being in the pool. Right? But yet, there's no videos or photos in Nolan's phone. Nothing. Nothing at all in Nolan's phone. Nothing? Think about that. Think about that. And not only that, what makes it more weird is that this, on the top line, look, I'm going to read from the top line, right? Look, Mississippi Department of Research, look, that's the first top line. Then the second top line. Now the third line from the top, we got 18-year-old son rode to Horn Island on a vessel with friends, was last seen around 1,500 hours, and his phone was in a friend's truck. So Nolan's phone wasn't even on the boat like we thought it was. It was in a friend's truck. So that means before they left the house where they was, they got into the truck, headed to the dock to go get the boats, and then go to the island. But guess what? It's in a friend's truck. Shady as hell. And this right here, these little evidence timestamps of where they was and how and where they was at every junction was funny as hell. That was weird. This Katie by Katie crib, party at Katie house. This all the moves that the boat made. This is a breakdown from the MDMR report, but yet this is from actually, I think this is from the police report. It's just a bunch of shady things that happened in this case, bro. Regardless if you believe it or not, regardless of what you think, man. It's just a bunch of shady situations within this whole situation, man. And yeah, man, I'm gonna try to update y'all to the best of my ability. Every update I get, make sure that you're notified. Make sure you're subscribing to the channel. Hit the notification bell so you're notified. Because yeah, man, I'm most definitely delved into this case right here, man. And we most definitely want to find out exactly what happened with Nolan Wells. Condolences to his family, anybody that loves him. You know, RIP to Nolan Wells, justice for Nolan Wells. You know, I'm not pointing a finger at any specific person because we don't know what the hell happened. None of us was there. But what I do know is that something foul, something very shady has taken place. All right. Salute to all of y'all. I'll be back with another video in a minute, man. But yo, as far as them people out there, Officer Brandon Tatum.
Shit. Got your ass.
And Tatum, you know that.
So that was a fucking lie.
That's all you ever said was lies, bro.
You lying ass bitch.
We side-eyeing you, Brandon Tatum. We on to you, brother. We looking at you like this. With the eyes, homie. We looking at you with the eyes. Don't be reckless eyeballing me, boy. We reckless eyeballing right now, homie. Yeah, we is. Yeah, we is. And Brandon Tatum, you grimy as hell. As soon as you get figured out, this gonna be you in a minute.
All my niggas from the Hooters, all my niggas turn shooters. All my ops turn racks.